Welcome to the White Wall Sessions Radio. I'm your host, Dan Schaefer. On this week's episode, we feature High Five, the Shackletons, and the Cole Allen Band. If you'd like to know more about the artists on the show, visit thewhitewallsessions.com for features, links, and videos. High Five is a high-energy four-piece jam band from Grand Forks, North Dakota. The band is made up of Daniel Knight, guitar vocals, Tyler Vakura, drums, Gareth Mimickle, bass and vocals, and Sean Kelly, lead guitar and vocals. High Five brought a diverse range of musical influences and styles to their White Wall session.
Your sweet love again. Now I'll hold on to you dearly. I'll keep you close by my side for the rest of eternity. But if our ship gets lost at sea, you know the breeze will carry me home to my queen Angeline. Now some men, they may try to steal your heart, but I know there's no soldier strong enough to tear ours apart. So I'll stand back and watch you play their games, while I know the whole while you're thinking of my name. But if our ship gets lost at sea, you know the breeze will carry me home to my queen Angeline. Home to my queen Angeline. But if our ship gets lost at sea, you know the breeze will carry me home to my queen Angeline. Angeline.
let's talk about the playing. First of all, it starts with his drumming. I mean, playing drums for this style of music, there's a certain way to do it, and you're doing it because it's that laid back sound. Is that always the way you've played, or have you played in bands like this?
I think so. This is the first jam band I've been in. I've been in a different genre bands as well, but I grew up playing drums, and I never went to school for drums, so I don't know any music theory technically, but I just always listened to a lot of jam music, so that's where I got it from.
Okay. And then you throw on the bass here, Gareth. And you guys are locked in, but then you're doing a lot of stuff in that bass space there. How long you been playing?
I am a guitar player first.
He's a guitar player turned bass player.
Metal guitar player.
Metal guitar player.
Not even just like
folk. Yeah, I mean, I have my moments, I guess. But I'm traditionally like a singer-songwriter, like acoustic kind of folk stuff. And then I really got into kind of heavier sounding, aggressive music, and I really liked playing guitar for that. Like I have a Mesa Boogie dual rectifier and an orange half stack and deafen myself usually. But with these guys, it was actually the previous guitar player that introduced me to them and kind of asked if I wanted to play bass. And I actually had just gotten kicked out of the band previous, and I had played bass in several bands before. And then I was just feeling in the previous band I was in, I was very discontent because there wasn't a lot of progress being made, and we were kind of stuck doing the same songs and just rehearsing and playing, a gig once every 4 months, and I just wasn't happy with that. And then so in the back of my head, I was kind of like, I wonder if High Five, and I wonder if Daniel wants to play with me. And I found out that their old bass player moved to Minneapolis. So it was kind of perfect timing. They kicked me out, and then I was invited into this band. And yeah, it was just, I didn't know what jamming was at the time because I was so used to structured songs. So when I was like, what do I do with this part? They look at me and they go, just jam. And I'm like, I don't know what that means. And now I really know what that means after kind of figuring out how to play, how to feel it, and how to like loosen up and really listen to the drums and, like you said, like lock into what Tyler's doing, and we kind of feed off each other in that regard.
Sure.
So yeah,
it's kind of how I knew he'd be a good fit because I'd seen him play acoustic guitar, I've heard him play electric, and I saw him play banjo. So I was like, well, he must just play every type of string instrument. So yeah, let's have him on.
If it has frets and strings, then I usually can manage.
Well, in a band like this, a jam band, there's a lot of room for bass, and you're definitely using all of that. I mean, there's all those little runs up and down that you can just put in there that just sound so cool.
Outside full of pride in stormy weather, and then the wind picked up and blew the river backwards. When the tide washed up, he was long gone moving forwards, and the days grew wide as his mother cried. She took every bit of hope and she held it deep inside, and then the sun came out and gave us all a new day. Shines down from above to light this darkened railway. Whoa, whoa, whoa. 'Cause he lives his life like a train running full speed ahead, tiptoeing the edge, never listened what his mama said. And she hoped one day he'd slow down and come stopping by. Instead he fell off the tracks and he crashed into the mountainside. for so long till I hit the ground, yeah. Whoa, whoa, whoa. See, this is life like a train running full speed ahead. With his headlight out, he never listened what his father said. He said, I told you, son, I've been down them tracks before. Shine your light up ahead to find just what you're looking for. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Whoa, whoa, like a train running full speed ahead. Tiptoeing the edge, never listen what his mama said. And she hoped one day he'd slow down and come stopping by. Instead he fell off the tracks and he crashed into the mountainside. See, this is life like a train running full speed ahead. With his headlight out, he never listened what his father said. He said, I told you, son, I've been down them tracks before. Shine your light up ahead to find just what you're looking for. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
The Shackletons are a three-piece rock and roll group based out of the Twin Cities. Quite literally a band of brothers, the Shackletons are Colin Campbell on guitar and vocals, Cameron Campbell on bass and vocals, and Evan Campbell on drums and vocals. The band's explosive stage presence and musical energy are a result of these young brothers' shared affinity towards music.
And I wanna say, if I cared about you, I'd worry. And I need to say, I care about you dearly. Did you see the way I turned my head in fury just to dodge the gaze never have to look you in the eyes again. You saw the way I walked out, and I watched the way you followed. Let the night begin. I wanna catch you staring at me with your vapor eyes. With your vapor eyes. I'm no Frank Sinatra, and you're Cleopatra. I write you sonatas, but you never hear them. I'm no Frank Sinatra, and you're Cleopatra. I write you sonatas. Oh God, I hope you hear them. Wow! I did not hear you play that song directed at me. Oh, don't go, please stay. The night is young and early, but you left to stay. Not your fault, not mine, but it changed the way you forever would look at me with your vapor eyes. With your vapor eyes. With your vapor eyes. With your vapor eyes. I'm no Frank Sinatra, and you're Cleopatra. I write you sonatas, but you never hear them. I'm no Frank Sinatra, and you're Cleopatra. I write you sonatas. Oh God, I hope you hear them. Whoa.
So real quick, back to the Campbell family. I mean, when you were warming up, you were playing some big country licks and Rush, and so your house must have been full of all kinds of music, right?
Definitely.
Yeah, I think we all kind of went our different ways in a way with rock, because like there's definitely bands where like, oh well, that's his band, and it's like, so if you look at big country and like bands like that, it's like that's Colin.
I love big country.
If you look at like Rival Sons, it's like
But I
Evan.
think we
all
enjoy
I think
them.
we all like the same things. It's just like that's what they're listening
That's
to
their
right now,
band.
and I
Yeah.
can't.
There's
give,
definitely a lot of mix coming in
Yeah.
to the sound that we have and just like what reflects on us. I think. I think I think we all. I'm trying to figure out what to say.
No, but like big country. Stuart Adamson this is a really controversial statement, and people have yelled at me for this. He's my favorite guitarist of all time.
He's amazing.
He's incredible. How do you get your guitar to sound like that? Like so.
And he's Scottish, and I mean, he was trying to make a bagpipe
Bagpipe with
sound,
his
and it was
guitar.
just brilliant. And
It's
that song
so-
is still, it never gets old. Like that one big country, and he's got a lot of great other. Great
Yeah, it's just everyone's like in a big country, but like.
once you dig, it's like
There's so many
good
great
songs.
things, and every song is just as good of a guitar song as Big Country. We should move on from Big Country because I could talk for hours about how much I love Big Country.
Well, and there's that sort of power pop energy that comes out of you guys. Is that just because it's in you, or do you write specifically trying to be that, have that sound?
I don't know if I've ever written a song trying to be something. I know that Things I Learned While Drunk in Vancouver is a direct result of me listening to a lot of Kevin Devine. Other than that, they just kind of happen that way. And I grew up listening to,
my favorite bands growing up were The Who, The Ramones, and The Clash. So like it was always like those huge energies coming, and like you can be like a really intricate jazz trio, make really cool music, and I'll be like really impressed. But I would much rather go see a bunch of sloppy punks like throw everything at the wall. You know what I mean? Like
That's fascinating because you're right. I mean, a great player, good to watch and interesting, but it's the energy, it's the song that matters at the
Right,
end of the day.
right.
Really good musicianship really helps too.
Yeah.
Evan, have you
both.
played drums the whole time? Have you started on drums?
I started on drums just because had guitar. Cameron had bass.
He didn't have much of a choice.
And
You look at the older
Yeah.
brothers.
We did not give him a choice.
they
Like,
didn't let me learn guitar or bass because it was their thing, and
they were our instruments.
it was their
Can't
instruments.
touch
So
that.
basically, the only thing left that for the band wise that I could play with was drums. So I started playing that. And when did we get a drum kit? Probably when I was like
I don't know, but it seemed to have
8
like
years old,
worked
something
out
like
to your
that.
advantage.
He seems to just be talking about drums a lot. He's also a very great piano player, and if he could play drums and play piano at the same time, we'd do that. But alas, he's only
We've
got
never
2
tried
hands.
that before.
How about you, Cameron? Did you start on the bass?
Okay, that's also a loaded question. So
We should just answer yes or no for these. No, we should just keep going. We gotta have a theme going.
Okay, so I originally wanted to play guitar. I started taking guitar lessons, tried to learn. Guitar teacher was like, "Here, you're gonna learn this song," and it was the Yellow Submarine. I'm like, "Awesome! I love the Beatles." I couldn't play guitar. I couldn't do it. I was like, you know what?
He's got large hands.
I got large hands. We'll go with that. So I was like, I'm done with this. And then one of my best friends in 6th grade was like, you should get a bass so we can start a band. And I was like, that sounds like a good idea. So then we went from there, and then me and him I think we took lessons for like a year or something.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't
Not
like
too long.
we didn't like lessons very much.
Yeah.
But it's like,
You
yeah, I
get
don't
the
know.
little bit of music theory, and then you can take it yourself.
Yeah, enough to like
Yeah.
know like some scales for like
Sure.
soloing, and then I was going to like open blues jams every week. I was like forced to like as a kid. Like my father's
I
thing
think
was,
that's what me and you.
Yeah.
Cameron didn't really go.
No, for some reason I got out of all of that.
But-
I'm still amazed that I made it through not going.
Wow.
the
The open blues jams, I think that's really what crafted us and
Yeah,
made
for
us
sure.
like the skill level that we are now. Just because it throws you on the stage and it's just like go.
yeah,
you
sink
know?
or swim, and like. And it still happens most of the time I go, but like even when you're 12 years old and you're walking up, you have no idea what song you're gonna play. They're just gonna yell a key at you.
Right.
Really?
It's all improv.
Yeah, you just go for it, and like that's why I fell in love with blues music. Is because of that. Just the flexibility and how everyone can play it, and you can just improv. Because of that, I started to be able to play by ear rather than like I can't read a note of music. I can't.
I don't think any of us can
No.
read
Yeah,
notes.
it's
Not
gibberish.
one.
But I can hear something and then hopefully not sound like complete trash playing it.
Yeah, I mean, blues is awesome. It's jazz with strings, you know.
It's jazz with strings.
And there's so much room. And in a 3-piece, you talk about bass. There's a lot of room for bass in the 3-piece.
Oh, yeah.
And you were definitely using it. I mean, bass is a fun instrument.
No, it definitely is. It's like when I first got my bass, band I was listening to a lot was definitely Rush. And so it was like, that's
how
pretty
it
cool.
works.
That's how you're supposed to play bass.
How you do it.
That's how you do it. And then you try to play like Geddy Lee and you're like, oh my God. I got a long ways to go.
It was a weird, we were listening to things like Rush, but we're also like, let's play Blitzkrieg Bop.
Yeah.
Let's do that. And
I think now it is like officially turned over. Let's just play replacement songs.
yeah. Oh my
So you were
goodness.
replacements fan?
Oh,
Huge
my
replacements
God.
fans.
There
I think we listened yesterday. What did we listen to? Pleased to Meet Me. Coming up here.
One of my favorite albums of all time.
I listened to Tim earlier in the day.
Yeah,
It was like-
I honestly know more about the replacements than I do 98% of other things. And like every year, it started so I thought they were I knew they were a punk band growing up, and I remember hearing I Will Dare and liking the song, but I remember thinking it was pretty clean, and I'm like, well, that's not really punk, you know what I mean, being like the young kid that I was. And then it's more recent than I like to admit with the replacements. I liked, I Hate Music and Taking a Ride and all that.
See, I only
And
knew
then-
Sorry Ma.
Stuff
growing
off
up.
that.
That was
And,
the one I knew.
I know it seems like we're going off on a tangent of the replacements, but I don't think anyone influences me more than Paul Westerberg does in his songwriting. The morning of my junior prom, my dad woke me up at 6 a.m. to go stand outside the depot, which is attached to First Avenue, to get tickets for their Midway Stadium show. Right, and we got a whole bunch of tickets. I remember studying up before I went. And looking back, that's probably one of the most significant shows I've ever seen ever. And plus the Hold Steady we're opening, that's another huge one of my oh geez.
I was at that show.
Were you at that show?
Yeah, and I saw them back in the 80s too. I mean, the Replacements are a band that you can't, if you tried to create that band, you couldn't. Because it just had to happen.
It's just like the perfect storm. I guess the word is out. I'm treading water again. 1,000 miles east of where the horizon line met its end. Half a country from where ukulele girls played the same songs over and over, voices flatter than Winnipeg. Why can't they all be Minnesota girls? I'm sorry, Brian Wilson, but you were wrong. Why can't they all be Minnesota girls? I'm sorry, Brian Wilson, but you were wrong. It's now 30 below, and I can't feel my toes. Damn, it's great to be home. No longer fitting your trendy life in NYC, but that's okay, I'm kicking it with my friends at the 7th Street entry. Why can't they all be Minnesota girls? I saw Brian Wilson, but you were wrong. It's now 30 below, and I can't feel my toes. Damn, it's great to be home. Why can't they all be Minnesota girls? I saw Brian Wilson, but you were wrong. Why can't they all be Minnesota girls? I saw Brian Wilson, but you were wrong. Now 30 below, and I can't feel my toes. Damn, it's great to be home. Thank you.
Cole Allen and his three-piece band, Cole Allen Band, came to the studio and stunned the crowd with some amazing guitar-filled blues. Cole gave a soul-filled performance on both occasions. The last time we saw Cole in the studio was when he accompanied his wife, Sina Earhart, in the Sina Earhart Band.
Every time I close the book, I feel cold and alone again. Every time I try to take a second look, I get thrown to the curb again. She said, bluest eyes won't hypnotize me. Oh no. Won't let you see the tears I drew, but I ain't giving up on trying, and I ain't giving up on you. But this time I won't be the one crying. She said, bluest eyes won't make me cry no more, no more, no. And lately, all you say is goodbye. Blue eyes, goodbye, goodbye, blue eyes. The sun is falling as quickly as I am into a day's routine of slow still. Down in an empty hall with souls that bottle bed, in my heart can't get his feel. No, the bluest eyes won't make me lie no more, no more, no, no. And lately, all you say is goodbye, the blue eyes, goodbye, goodbye.
three-piece, I mean, there's a lot of space for everybody, particularly bass and drums, and obviously guitar. It's got to be fun. I mean, do you all prefer three-piece, or have you played with bigger bands?
I've always loved playing three-piece. I love the openness to it. You can all I don't know. I love there's so many open spots and different pockets you can fill, and there's a lot of room for spontaneity and creativity. You know,
magic. Room for magic to happen.
How about you, Lane? You the three-piece, or you like bigger bands or three-piece?
You know, I've been in plenty of bands where it's been 4, 5, 6 people at times, and I think the nice thing and the fun thing about the three-piece is that everybody's got to kind of hold up their own end. But if the rhythm section can lock in, then the guitar player can just go out into the galaxy. You know what I mean? So it's like, and Craig and I seem to play off one another very well. We've locked in almost instantaneously the first time we got together, and I was like, it's fun to be able to have somebody with that sort of chemistry, a little bit of that nuance of being able to kind of read where I'm going to go with something. It seemed like it was really a natural fit. So
yeah, I mean, we could tell you definitely locked in because of the tight. I mean, you locked in the beginning that you first met each other, but man, you can really feel it. But that also gives that room for you to do that interesting stuff, which is
exactly.
So
yeah, let's, like he was saying, let's Cole go off, and we can go off as long as we want and come back at a signature riff, and depends. So
Cole, you write most of the songs, right? Or all of them?
Yep, I've write most of the stuff, and then we kind of write the arrangements together. I usually bring kind of a finished piece or nearly finished, and then we kind of fill in the gaps all together.
Is that easier to do as a three-piece or harder, do you think?
I think it's probably. I mean, I'm not really sure. I think that it's easier in some ways, just because there's less people involved. I guess
less is more.
Yeah,
yeah.
In music, yeah, it works good. There's a good chemistry. There always has been.
Right. Well, you can tell. You can definitely tell. So when you're writing those songs, can you kind of hear maybe what Craig would likely do or?
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
I've been playing with Craig so long that, I mean, I always hear where I have ideas when I'm writing a song, or when I want to bring a certain song to the band to cover, or something that I can hear what, Craig's going to do vocally on it, or, definitely to fill in with different bass riffs and whatnot.
Sure. Well, your songs are interesting. A lot of times, blues music is kind of, the song is just sort of a vehicle to get to the solo, right? I mean, it's just kind of. But these ones, they have a lot of pieces and parts, and it's really cool. And then the solos are good.
Yeah, we all have. I think the three of us have most of our background in rock and roll, and a lot of the late '60s and '70s rock bands. So. And all those guys were influenced by the older blues musicians. So the blues is definitely there underneath, but it's for sure rock and roll.
Yeah.
I call it riff rock.
Oh, there you go. That's
what
good
it
way to
is.
put
It's
sure. Because the song's coming around, then
got the hook,
you hit that riff.
Yeah.
So how do you write a lead or a solo, or do you just kind of? I mean, how does that work?
Yeah, trial and error. I think for the most part, I usually don't worry about really writing a solo until we're going to go in the studio and really lay down something. But it just kind of try to do whatever's best for the song. I think for the most part, and that's kind of the key is just lifting the song up as much as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, what I like working with Cole most about is that his solos are consistent. Solos, they're every night it's basically the same. He goes off, but he's always coming back.
Okay.
And that makes it real easy to work with him.
Interesting. So the solo is as much.
He
of
writes
the song
them. Yeah, there's a beginning, a middle, and an end.
Because I've heard people say that the solo should have that.
Yep.
Solos, just like a song has sort of dynamics,
Yeah.
the solo should too. And so you consciously write that in there when you're.
I think it just came naturally to him, because when I started working with him, he was younger, and it just came out, and it was just amazing to watch him.
It is pretty.
Let him go.
So let's talk about your albums. You got a self-titled album.
Yep.
Well, first of all, we've seen you before, Cole. You were with Cena Earhart, and
Yeah.
Cena Earhart back in season 2, which was fantastic.
Yeah.
How much do you work with Cena still, and then how much does Cole Allen?
Well, Cena's my wife, so we work together, all the time on everything. And, we do a lot of, her Cena Earhart band stuff, which is a totally different, it couldn't be more different from the Cole Allen band stuff. But, we do that. We do an acoustic duo show that her and I do. And so, yeah, we're still actively doing, 3 or 4 different projects.
Have you ever collided? Like, okay, we got a show as Cena Earhart, but Cole Allen should be playing that? Or?
No, well, not really. But we've had both bands on some different bills before, which has worked fun.
If you'd like to know more about the artists we feature, visit thewhitewallsessions.com. The White Wall Sessions Radio is recorded and produced at Last Stop Studios in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Last Stop Studios is located in the lower level of the Last Stop CD shop at 2121 East 10th Street in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Executive producers are Jeff Zuger and Doug Taylor. Head of Broadcast Engineering is Dave Palmer. Audio technicians are Chad Conrad, Carl Koiser, and Dave Palmer. Audio mixing is Chad Conrad. Associate producer is Michael Yeager. Scheduling and sales is Tom Eisner. I'm your host, Dan Schaefer. Join us again next week for another edition of the White Wall Sessions Radio.